The Greater Centerville Historians organized in the year 2000. The purpose of the organization is to preserve the history of the Township of Centerville, Cleveland and surrounding area. Gerald O'Neill, Charlie Bauer, Richard Wiegand, and myself, Kathleen Sixel, were the founding members. In 1831, the territory south of Green Bay was sold to the U.S. government by the Native Americans who had title to the land. The consideration was the promise of a reservation in another state. The Township of Centerville was established in 1850. The township had a village called Centerville. The reason for the hamlet's original name of Centerville was, in the days of the Indians, there was a trail along Lake Michigan between Manitowoc and Sheboygan. This heavenly spot was exactly at the halfway mark, so the early white man gave it the name Centerville. In 1849, the village of Centerville was surveyed and laid out in lots and blocks. The village of Centerville was renamed Hika when the Postmaster General informed the village leaders that another Centerville was located in the state. When it became time for Centerville to be renamed, a judge in Manitowoc by the name of Albert Schmidt would take kids hiking. The judge said, "You can't call a town hiking, so why not make it Hika?" Thus, the village of Centerville became Hika. In the early years, Centerville had the vision of becoming a lake port. To encourage ships to dock there, 2 piers were built into Lake Michigan. Many German immigrants arrived by schooners, and the village began to grow. The village had a brick factory, stores, schools, a Lutheran and a Catholic church, mills, saloons, blacksmith shop, and a fire department, and a brewery. When the brewery was built, the settlement began to flourish. But when fire destroyed the brewery, the largest industry, there was no longer a need for the harbor facilities. So ended this chapter of the development of Hika. 2 miles west of Hika, another settlement known as St. Wendel began to grow. It had a Catholic church, a general store with a connected dance hall, and a post office was also located in the complex, a funeral parlor, and at one time a motel. With the clearing of the forest, tilling of the land began. This prompted the exporting of lumber and grains. The farmers of Centerville looked forward to the building of a railway since they had a serious problem transporting their products. In 1873, the Milwaukee, Lakeshore, and Western Railroad was built between the settlements of Hika and St. Wendel and was named Centerville Station. In 1880, Centerville Station was renamed Cleveland after President Grover Cleveland. Cleveland, at that point in time, owes its growth to the fact that the Township of Centerville was a rich farming community, and farmers for miles around would bring products to be shipped by rail or ship. The village of Cleveland had several grocery stores, a furniture store, a funeral parlor, several saloons, Lutheran church, hardware stores, several gas stations, newspaper, photographer studio, several car dealerships, cheese factory, several feed mills, livestock yard, and lumber yards. The biggest business was the Cleveland Co-op, which offered many types of services. With the failing of grain crops, the farmers began dairy farming. With the abundance of milk, another industry began, cheese and butter making. Local cheese factories dotted the countryside. One-room schools were usually built near the cheese factories, so children would have a ride to school when farmers brought their milk. In 1958, Hika, St. Wendel, and Cleveland incorporated into the village of Cleveland. In 1968, the Cleveland Elementary School was built. The Township of Centerville has seen many farming changes, but dairy farming is still the primary vocation. Today, Cleveland is known as the seat of Lakeshore Technical College, which offers an educational alternative to four-year colleges. An ancient proverb states, When an old person dies, a library burns to the ground. These words were the inspiration for organizing the Greater Centerville Historians. We hope to preserve as many memories as possible.
Starting here, so we'll give you some of, first of all, when you talk on the microphone, you got to keep it up here because when it's down here, you can't hear me. You want to be heard. Everybody in the room wants to be heard, right? No? There's a couple that say no. Okay, we will be breaking at an hour, and we're going to do introductions. We'll start on this side. We'll pass the microphone back and forth all the way down. And then we're going to bring it back up here and pass it all the way down. That works better for Jerry. And then Kathy will open the meeting. But before we'll start, we're going to open our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. So I'm going to ask everybody to stand, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Okay, we're going to start with the introductions. I'm Charlie Bauer from Newton.
Good.
Phil Knopf, Cedar Lake.
Thank you.
Earl Aldridge, Town of Centerville.
Thank you.
Nancy Aldridge, Town of Centerville.
Good.
Marcia Yanig from Templeton, California, staying in the town of Centerville.
Good.
Dennis Yanig from Templeton, California, staying in Centerville.
Thank you.
Henry Koch, ex-Cleveland, now Manitowoc.
Very good, thank you.
Don Zimmerman, also ex-Cleveland, now Manitowoc.
Frederick Jacoby, Manitowoc.
Good.
Carl Ziegler, Town Mimi.
Rick Beiersdorf, Town Mimi.
Thank you.
Irene Dine, Cleveland.
Good.
Alice Mathias, Cleveland.
Good.
Willard Mathias, Cleveland.
Good.
Ed Heckman, Spring Valley.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dolores Manlick, Manitowoc.
Thank you.
Don Manlick, Manitowoc.
Thank you.
Rich Hankey, Manitowoc.
Very good.
Lloyd Wogel, Cleveland.
Thank you.
John Scott, Milwaukee.
Good.
Kirsten Husband, Cleveland.
Thank you.
Grace Yeager, Cleveland.
Good.
Bonnie Croc, Centerville.
Thank you.
Alan Croc, Centerville.
Thank you. Good.
Marie Rosenbauer, Newton.
Thank you.
Richard Otto Wiegand, Spooner, formerly of Town Centerville.
Good. Good.
Phyllis Hickman, Cleveland.
Thank you.
Hazel Wagner, Cleveland.
Thank you.
Naomi Schmidt, Elkhart Lake.
Very good.
Eugene Moiser, Cleveland.
Thank you.
Lana Prigge, Cleveland.
Thank you.
Bob Prigge, Cleveland.
Good.
Don Schneider, Lewis Corners.
Good.
Ken Smazel, Rockville.
Good.
June Smazel, Rockville.
Thank you.
Paul Wagner, Howards Grove.
Thank you.
Richard Schwartz, Town Mimi.
Thank you.
Paul Schwinn, Cleveland.
Good.
John Wiegand, Centerville.
Thank you.
Marilyn Heineman, Howard's Grove.
Good. Thank you. Right ahead.
I'm Kathy Sixel from Newton, really from closer to School Hill. Well, anyways, I welcome everybody for coming out tonight. How wonderful, all you historians. We have a few simple rules, and I don't think we have anybody new tonight, so I don't think we'll go through the rules. We'll go right into our program. So with that, we've got a different Earl tonight. Earl Stoltenberg couldn't come. So we got the next Earl and his wife Nancy, and I don't know what your family isn't here, huh? Robert?
No, they have little children, and they said that might not work so good.
Okay, well, we'll let you take it away. It'll be a very interesting topic and subject, and you'll do just fine. So, so glad you're here.
Thank you. Right ahead, please.
Good evening. I'm much more comfortable talking about garden art because I'm a gardener. But tonight it will be on our history of our farm a little bit and our
Little higher.
butchering and sausage making.
There you go.
A short history of our farm takes us back to 1854, when Earl's great-great-grandfather bought 165 acres of land. We purchased the farm in 1977 and are the 5th generation to own it. We have 4 grown married children. Tammy, Robert, and Dennis live in the Cleveland area, while Kelly lives in Sheboygan. And of course, the best blessing of all is the 9 grandchildren that live close by. Like so many area farm families, the Oldricks did butchering and sausage making. And Earl will talk about what his folks and the extended family members did.
Go right ahead, sir.
Okay. What I remember is there usually were 4 to 5 uncles, plus my dad, doing the butchering. It was done in a woodshed, butchered 6 pigs and a cow.
Earl,
And,
who were the uncles?
oh,
Tell us the uncles.
okay. Walter Eldridge, Irvin Eldridge, Edwin, and sometimes Harvey, my uncle, and, well, once in a while, many years ago, Curly with some, or Gilbert.
Ulrich.
Yeah, all were Eldridge. And, okay, we'd start out the morning, you'd do the chores, get all the milking done, and then you'd start out butchering the pigs. So usually there were 6 pigs that had to be butchered. So you'd get them in this woodshed, which originally I think was the old barn, because that whole part was concreted, where we did the butchering. And there was a big wheel with an ironwood shaft going across the woodshed, and that one person could pull a cow up on that big wheel. It was like a butchering wheel. Well, okay. You start out with the first pig, tied him around the hind leg, and then, well, you had to hit him over the head. We never used a gun, we always hit him over the head. Then you had a knife. If you used that knife for anything else, you were in trouble. Because that was sharp enough to shave the hair off by the throat and go in and cut the main arteries. Okay, when they did that, you had to be there with a dish and a spoon and stir the blood that didn't coagulate. And then there was a pail where that went in, and there's somebody stirring that didn't coagulate. So you did that 6 times, you butchered them all and saved the blood. And after that it was scalding. We did it in a barrel. It was a recipe of so many pails of hot water, so many pails of cold water. Then they were on that winch, you pull them up, put them in the barrel, swing them around in there for so long, and you had to pull them out, that they got air. Then you put them in again for so long, and you pull them out again. If you kept them in too long, the hair didn't come off. If you didn't do it long enough, the hair didn't come off either. So after we had that done, and we hung them outside on ladders. And I see Donnie Zimmerman's got a thing there that's what you hung the pigs up on the ladder and stretched them out.
Hold it there, Don. Thank you.
It's actually Fred's.
Oh, it's Fred's? Okay.
So I got a number of them too, but they're hanging in the smokehouse and they're quite black.
I cleaned it up.
No, okay.
Earl.
Yeah.
Oh, just 1 second. All right, ahead. Your name, please?
Richard Wiegand. I presume you kill all the pigs first before you started doing the other stuff?
Yep.
Rather than have 5 pigs watching the other one.
Oh. In fact, I can remember they had a large sow that they stuck, thought it was all bled out, put it on the side, and they started on the other one. Well, the thing wasn't quite bled out and dead yet. Crawled on top of the wood pile in the woodshed, so they had to go up there and pull it down and get it back in the roll. But still tasted good, I guess. So yeah, and then it was taking the hair off the pigs, and then you got a scraper there, that's what you use.
You got a scraper? Hold it up one more, Don. Just 1 second.
Should we pass it around?
Yes, after a while.
Like this. Start up there.
That's what happens to me.
You got a question way in the back. Jerry, a question way in the back.
A question way in the back. I'll hold it right there. Go ahead, please. Do you have a mic?
I'll talk now.
Thank you.
Kirsten husband, did you do this at a certain time of year? I mean, how did you know when to do the butchering?
You always did it in fall when it was stayed cold enough that you could cool the meat outside. Then you had no walk-in coolers or nothing, so that's when you did it.
Go right ahead, please.
What year were you doing this? I take it was you that was doing it?
No, it was my folks, and beyond that, it was always done in the family. Well, that's what supplied the meat for the year.
But you remember seeing it being done?
Oh, yeah. Because my dad did it yet, and my uncles still, when they all got older. And it sort of, we butchered cows, but we didn't butcher pigs no more. But, yeah.
But Earl, you still do it today, right?
No,
Oh, you don't anymore?
no.
You do it a different method?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
When I get to my
you
sausage,
there,
I'll tell you how.
Yeah.
So once we got the pigs all scraped and everything, and then we gutted them. Had them hanging up, and then all the intestines and everything got put on the side on a table. So then the women would be there, and they would cut all these intestines apart in a string, the way they were in the pig, and then they would get cleaned out, washed out with water, and then they would be taken into the basement. And there I had a great uncle. He was too old to help with butchering, who was shooting. He would go down there, and he would scrape casings till they were all clean and nothing on them. And that he did, that took him half a day to do. So, but then it was butchering the cow. Well, you hung the pigs outside the cool. Next, you did the cow. You knocked that down, bled it, made sure it was bled out good, hung it up on the hooks on the winch, and then you'd skin it, and then you'd take the intestines out, and you'd save them intestines, because that's where you usually put your summer sausage in, the cow intestines. They were a little bigger, but they all had to be clean, scraped, and then tied off that for your sausage size. We had a board at home. We wrapped these casings around, and you cut them twice, so you had 2 sets of casings cut. So that, we'd leave the cow, and then we'd split it, which you saw it by hand. And boy, you better make sure you saw it straight, that you went right down the middle. Otherwise, there was heck to pay for. And that would hang in the woodshed overnight, so that cooled off for the next day, that amount of meat. Then, well, after the butchering was done, then we would have to do chores and everything. The milking was done, but then the pigs were cooled off. So then you would take them in the basement and start cutting them up, take all the back fat off. Then if you had 3 inches of fat on the back, boy, you had a good pig. Now they're talking, I just seen on TV the other day, they try to keep it under an inch. You know, but, you know, well, that's when you use the lard for everything. So, well, then the next day, the meat that from the cow got cut off the bone, and all the bones would be saved, because, you know, you'd have to let anything go to waste. Then you would be called made rindowish, because that was, you cook all the bones, and then you took it down the basement, and scraped them all, and Made sure you got everything, and then you made the sausage. Well, Wendel should turn beef sausage. So, and then, well, they usually made liver sausage, blood sausage, head cheese, and, well, summer sausage, of course. And years ago, they used to can it, because then you could, there was no way to keep it, so you canned it, and then you had a sealer, and so you couldn't get no cans no more. So then they quit that practice. Well, then it's time to do the seasoning of the meat. My dad was the youngest of the brothers. So Louis Schutt, they used to go to different farms and do the butchering. So he taught my dad the more or less in and outs of it. And it got measured by the handful. You know, they always used the same hand. So after about 15 minutes of mixing a cold meat, and your hands are stiff, and well, you got taste. So they tasted, well, then the uncles would all stand there. Well, I think it needs a little more of this. So they put a little more in, you start mixing all over again. And, well, we always had stainless steel cups. We made it in 100-pound batches. And that, well, there's a lot of that stuff, like the liver sausage would have to be cooked. So in the woodshed, we had a 50-gallon kettle where we cook in. And we also had one in our smokehouse, a 50-gallon kettle. So we could cook 2 batches of meat at one time. That it speeded up the process a little bit. And, well, that's the way that went. Then, well, then it was next was stuffing summer sausage. Well, that's where we started using the casings that you got from the pigs and cows, or mostly from the cow for the summer sausages. And then you could use, what do you call it, from the cow where you made bunks out of. And I don't care where you take the sausage out of to make a bunk, and you take it out the middle of the stuffer, it still tastes different than your other summer sausages. What it does, I have no idea. If it's the depth, the thickness, or volume, or who knows what. So, like I said, then we used to do it and put it in cans and seal it, because there was, you know, we did put in casings and round, got put out in the woodshed over winter, because that would freeze out there. We put it in big stone cracks with a wood cover on, and well, you needed some meat, you went out to the woodshed, you brought some in the house and let it thaw, and then that's what you ate. And you know, well, you always had lots of relation coming for Sunday afternoons. Well, there always had to be lunch, or it wouldn't be right. So that's where the sausage got used up. And then we cold smoke, what they call cold smoking. It doesn't freeze, because I remember there were some nights when it got really, I mean, like 20 below. We would carry all the sausage down in the basement so it wouldn't freeze. In the morning we'd carry it all out again, put it back in the smokehouse, and start it up again.
How long did you smoke it?
7 days.
Oh, 7 days.
7 days we smoked it. And then we had the hams and that would all be put in a big stone crock with salt water, and that would be 6 weeks that would stay in there. To make the water for the hams, you put in an egg in the water. When the egg floated, you had no salt in it. So, and then that would have to be smoked 2 weeks after it comes out of brine. And we made our own bacon, dry beef, all in the smokehouse, and it had to be done at separate times because some bacon didn't need much smoke, and so it was all of the ongoing process. And the summer sausage, when it was made, you took some because it would age, and you'd be eating rock hard summer sausage all year. So then you'd take it and stick it in the grain bin up in the granary. So that would keep it from, it would freeze in there, and then in spring, it would stay frozen a long time because the oats insulated the sausage. So then you could have fresh sausage every once in a while to break up the routine. Well, I think we're gonna be done a lot sooner.
We got more questions. Just 1 second, please. Nice and loud, please. Go right ahead.
Richard Wiegand, couple of questions. The area where you did the butchering, I imagine you had to clean that up, sweep it, wash it, whatever, because I'm just thinking of northern Wisconsin, we would have all kinds of critters in there very quickly if they could smell blood around the place.
Well, it was, the floor was, like I said, it was all slanted to the middle. So originally, I think it was the first barn that got turned into a woodshed. That's where the cows were. So everything that liquid would drain out the back of the woodshed. And yeah, you tried not to put too much out, but it still went out. But you didn't have that much problem with, like you said, up north with a lot of big critters and stuff.
Second question I have is, what did you throw away? And, you know, off news or whatever that is. Where did you go with it?
Well, usually when you got done taking all the casings out, you had the stomach and that left from the cow and everything. Usually got dragged out on the field and the crows ate it up and the seagulls. So by spring there was nothing left but the insides.
What about the head and the hide and that kind of?
Well, the heads from pigs you used. That was always a big delicacy. When we split pig heads, then that night for supper, then we had fried brains. And that was, everybody got a little bit because there wasn't that much from 6 pigs. But that was a delicacy, fried in butter and onions. So, and then the cow head, that pretty much got cut off and skinned out. And then the hides cow hide got sold. But I remember, like with the pigs, well, they were down in there and they cut the back fat off in strips. And then you start it, and then you take the knife and you cut a slot in there, and then there you put your fingers in, and then with the knife, stripped it right off. Well, if you had uncles around and you were standing a little too close, once in a while you got that one alongside the head, or... So...
You got another question way back there.
Hold it. Just 1 second. Right ahead, please. Nice and loud.
Kirsten husband. So I'm assuming the men did the butchering, but did the women participate in some of the other parts?
Yes. The women usually cleaned the casings. When they were put on this table, and they went at that and separate them all, that they would be done with one when the next one came. And usually I helped them because I was too small to do anything else. Because when the pigs were in there, you stand on the steps, so you were out of the way. And yeah, the women helped with a lot of
So
stuff.
then did they like cook the blood sausage and?
Well, no.
No?
The guys pretty well did that themselves. Like the head cheese and that, you'd put it back in the kettle because you'd have to cook get the casings that they wouldn't deteriorate. So then you'd have to put it back in the kettle till you seen the little ends of the thing all shrivel up. And then you knew it was done. And the bigger, like head cheese and that was put in the pig's stomach. And that you'd put in the kettle and then you had to poke them once in a while with air pockets. Heaven forbid if you broke one of them. So yeah, the women helped with a lot of cleaning up and stuff. That was usually what the women did.
Okay, we got a question over here. Go right ahead, please. Name, please.
Naomi Schmidt.
Thank you.
I remember when we slaughtered, my mother always rendered the lard, and then they made bratwurst too. remember her putting them in jars, and she canned them, and then after a while, like you say, they had cans. But before that, she put it in 2 quart jars. So the women did a lot of work, and usually we did it the first week in December. And then they did all that, plus they had to get ready for Christmas. And they worked.
Okay, we got a question. Your name, please?
Bill Knopf
Thank you.
said you had 5 pigs and a cow. Now, how many families was that good for to feed?
Well, most of it stayed home on the farm, but some went to the uncles that helped with, helped with the butchering and stuff.
I take it your family went over to the uncles to do some butchering too?
Well, some of the uncles that I mentioned were city people. One lived in Orange Grove, one lived in Sheboygan. I had uncles lived with us that stayed on, they more or less came with the farm when we bought the farm. And, yeah, but my dad used to go to some of the other relations, and then he would help them butcher, make sausage. They would like that always be about a week. He'd go, I know, I had an uncle around Lewis Corners. He'd go up there and butcher, and then he had another one called Mimi that he would help butcher. So it was a lengthy process. But like I said, he was the youngest one, so he got taught the butchering trade. Well, here's a story. My dad died quite young. So pigs were really cheap. So I asked the pig farmer from Cleveland here if I could buy a sow for him. We're going to make brats. Okay? So 300-pound sow was practically nothing, So then he came to me and he said, hey, if you do a sow for me, I'll give you your sow for nothing. Okay. So we got the pigs home, and we couldn't get them in a butcher shop for 2 months. With slack time, we were going to do them right away. Well, why can't we do this ourselves? Okay, well, I got time to butcher the pig. I thought, my uncles, I said, I'll hit them over the head. You guys stick them. Well, what do you mean? I said, well, you guys go in there, with the knife and get the arteries. Well, we don't know how to do that because my dad got taught everything, and these were older uncles. Well, I got inaugurated into learning how to stick a pig. And then, of course, we skinned them. We didn't fool with the hair or nothing. So, well, we skinned them all. First thing they looked at, the front shoulders. Because if you do it right, you dasn't touch the front shoulders with that knife because that'll leave a big blood coagulation. Then you'd have to cut all that meat away. So boy, you'd have to do that. So I passed the test on the first 2 I did. So then we made 600 pounds of brats out of 2 pigs.
Whoa.
And nothing got saved. It was hams, back straps, everything went into brats. It was good meat. And now, when I make summer sausage, I use nothing but good meat. The beef is from the hind quarter, and the pork is pork shoulders. Might cost a little more, but I think it tastes better. I could make sausage a lot cheaper if I use a lot cheaper meat. But that isn't the way I was brought up, because we always use good meat in our sausage.
Got a question for you, sir. In the time I was watching butchering rather, they had electric motor on a auger of a machine that would make the sausage into a ground up area. Did you have that privilege, or did you have to do it by hand?
I have one now. That'll mix a 100-pound batch in about 3 minutes.
Oh.
After we got it all ground, we put it in there, and the seasoning goes in there.
Okay.
And start it up, and then what I learned, even when you mix it by hand, you went in with a handful, put it on your hand, held it up, if it stuck to your hand, it was mixed enough. If it didn't, you kept on mixing. Because that releases, the mixing releases the protein in the meat. What it does, why, I have no idea, but that's the way I was told. So that's how you mix sausage.
Okay, thank you. Very good. Anybody else have any? Oh, we got hands up all over here. I'll go to Fred here for a moment. He's been quiet. Go right ahead, sir.
Fred Jacoby. Earl, as I recall, they used to turn the casings inside out, right? Yeah, to clean them up. Right. I thought, that's what I remember, because I think we stopped butchering about when I was 15 or 16, and I never was much involved except doing other stuff. And then the brains. I remember my mother used to stretch them out with scrambled eggs.
Well, we usually had enough, like I said, it wasn't
Oh, you
delicate.
had 5 or 6 pigs, you say?
Yeah, we had 6 pigs.
We used to kill, as I recall, at least, I don't know if it was every year, a cow and 2 pigs. And the men would kill it. We worked with 2 other neighbors, Shooties and Sixels. And then early in the morning, they'd kill the animals. Then they did the chores. And then the rest of the work commenced like 10 o'clock in the morning until about 9 o'clock at night when they finished. And at our house, we used the basement. The neighbors had summer kitchens and wash houses. So it was easy to wash everything down.
Yeah. By us, we did the chores early, and then we started butchering. They could continue what you were doing.
And now, you talked about skinning. I know they use this thing, but some people just skin them, you say, and that's a skinning knife, I believe.
Yeah, well, that probably, if it's skinning, it's probably going to use for the cow, because years ago you didn't skin pigs.
All right. Oh, yeah, okay. There you are.
Yeah.
And this is Vernon Derish's, actually, it was.
Yeah, we got a lot of them knives at home that are half moon-like or
That's
whatever.
what I was wondering about. When you said skinning, I wasn't sure what you, for the cows.
Right.
Okay, we got a question back in the corner there. Thank you.
Earl, with the knives and that too, wasn't that sticking knife, wasn't that a 2-sided pointed knife? Where the skinning knives were curved.
Yeah, on one side. Yeah, that's why the sticking knife you didn't use for nothing else.
That's right.
That was sharp on both sides, that you can go in, cut the veins low, and cut the veins high and pull out.
Could you go through that motion for me one more time?
You'd go in,
Okay.
with that knife,
Yep.
and you'd go low to cut the bottom arteries off,
Okay.
and then you'd come up with the knife and pull back out to cut the top arteries.
Wow.
So you've done it in
One move.
motion,
Yeah.
and hopefully you did it right, because
Anybody else? Okay, we got a gentleman here. Go right ahead, please.
I was wondering if any of the meat was eaten fresh. The first couple of days, I think you averaged.
oh yeah, yeah, usually fried up pork chops or whatever. Yeah, you always kept some. Well, that was the butchering crew that was there. Then you had fresh meat, and like I said, my dad went to different farms, so that they always, then the women made up the meat and had the meals for the guys. And
In other words, not too much though was prepared as fresh meat.
no, before there were refrigerators and stuff, then they made a lot of salt pork, and like you said, can it. You got to put in cans or quart jars. That, you know, and then that would all have to be taken, or quart jars you did in a canner. But like the cans, you took them all out again, out the kettle, and then you cooked them at a certain temperature, that long, and then you're rendering the lard. That always was, I loved that. You would, after you had it all cooked, you know, it was just right, then you put it in a cloth bag, and then you let it drain, and then you could always eat the fresh cracklings from out of the, that cracklings was called, after it was rendered out, that there was still texture there. So that's what you could eat. You still, I know I do you can buy cracklings, because a lot of people make crackling cookies. and stuff like that yet from old recipes.
Could I have a raise of hands who all has eaten cracklings? Oh, keep them up there. Very good. Wonderful. Good. Popular. Yes, Richard.
Richard Wigan, we have a raise of hands. Who all participated in butchering at home?
Keep your hands up, please.
And the second question I have is, you were talking about making quality, good quality using good meat. Are you aware of the recipes of any of these, companies? I won't mention any names, who make brats and other things. How do yours compare to the commercial?
Well, I tell my kids, they like our brats that we make, the seasoning. Well, first, before we get into seasoning, one person does all the seasoning by us. And she goes in the back room. You don't bother her. You're in trouble.
Is that your wife you're talking about?
Yeah. Like I said, when we started doing it, my dad was around yet. Okay, he would say so many hands full in a batch, 100-pound batch summer sausage. Well, we make them take hands full and put it in something, and then we'd weigh it. And then from there we could fine-tune it. Anybody with secret recipes for summer sausage, there really isn't any. It's either how much salt you want to put in, how much pepper you want to put in, or how much you don't want to put in. And like I always tell my kids, you make it the way you like it. Who cares about anybody else? If they like it after we make it, well, that's fine. But I mean, otherwise, you make it the way you want it. But we've been in a... Go ahead, Richard.
So some of the commercial products, they're not putting something in there that isn't meat, some other substitutes, or some cheap stuff, or whatever it is, or are you aware of that, or?
Well, you can be surprised what is called meat. Like they always said, Oscar Mayer uses everything but the squeal. To this day, we got to know there's Usingers in Milwaukee, there's two brothers and a sister. Me and Nancy got invited down there. And well, let us know ahead of time that we can have the executive dining room ready for you, give us 3-4 day notice there. I never went. I wish I would have to this day. But yeah, we never went. And then, well, like smokehouses. Our old smokehouse got tore down. It was a stone wall thing, and it started cracking, but there was an oven and everything in there. Wish the guy would have it. Have to be something to play with. Had a brick oven in, you could make homemade bread and stuff and everything. But if you drive around the countryside on farm places, you look. I bet there's a smokehouse on almost every farm yet. Well, I know Bobby's homestead's got one.
We have one, but it doesn't function.
Yeah, it's used for garden shed or something, pile stuff in. But my dad built a new one on a cinder block and everything. And then we got our smokehouse in and our cooking kettle, which is a 50-gallon kettle, where we make our liver sausage and everything in. But there too, years ago you used just about all the jowls for making liver sausage. Well, when we make liver sausage now, we use a couple jowls, a couple pounds. I don't know what the percentage was, we figured out. So it wouldn't be so fatty. And then I use pork shoulder meat for the rest of it. Because when you put them in casings, you had to go outside every 15 minutes and turn them over. So they got solid. So the fat wouldn't separate from either. You'd have a big layer of fat along the whole sausage. So every 15 minutes you went out, and it was all on boards, and you had to rotate that. And smokehouses were made out of, from little wood shacks to The one on the Meyer farm across the road, they must have built the same time they did that concrete silo. You know, that's a round concrete, and it comes to like a silo roof on to a point, and then there they had timbers put into the concrete where you can hang all your sausage up. Personally, I love home smoked hams. Everybody says, well, how can you eat one raw like that? Well, it's not raw, technically. It's cured in salt water and everything. But you could go down and, like the summer sausage too, you scrape the mold off, and it's good to eat. And too, when they ran out of casings, you didn't go buy casings from a butcher shop. Then my grandmother was living with us yet. She would sew up cloth bags to make summer sausage. That was from the flour bags. So they were always 2 feet long, maybe 4 inches round. And then you let them hang, pickle brush, scrape all the mold off, and good to eat. Peel the outside off. I usually leave 4 or 5 of them hang in the basement when we make it in November. And by March, April, through there, then Nancy's wondering when I'm going to get rid of them. Because all they are is green tubes hanging there. But you can kill somebody with one of them. You better have a good sharp knife or you aren't cutting it either. So,
We got a question over here, Earl, just one moment, please. Your name, please?
Naomi Schmidt.
Thank you.
We were talking before about everything was used. I can remember my mother taking the water that they cooked the liver sausage and blood sausage in, and she made balgenbrei. And we have that.
Say that word again, please.
Balgenbrei.
Okay.
And I can remember my sister and I as kids when they were slaughtering, and we were going to go to school, and we couldn't wait. We ran home the day they were boiling the kidneys because there's nothing like some fresh kidneys and you dip them in coarse salt. Oh, that was, that's the way it was. And like I said, dried beef. You put that in a smokehouse, and I can remember having company, and my sister and I would, my mother said, go to the smokehouse, get some dried beef. My mother and my sister and I would argue, I'm not going to go in there. It's snowing out. I'm not going to go in there. Now I'd walk 4 miles from that. And like their homes, your ham too. We always eat that raw smoked ham. That's good. Slice it and put it in bread.
if you go down to Chicago and buy cold smoked ham, it has a tremendous price on it. It's just, but around here you can't do that because you're gonna die from it.
That's like, there was a sausage maker that came from Germany, went over to Germany, and he says, you Americans. He says, you can't use pork blood for making blood sausage that they did years ago. He says, that makes the best blood sausage because there's trichinosis, but he maintains trichinosis is not in the blood, it's in the meat. And he says, it's got nothing to do with the blood. But I guess at one time they said that makes the best pork blood sausage.
Well, there was a time, I don't know when it was, Bobby, where they couldn't use pork blood no more.
Brady.
Yeah, Bob.
That's right, Earl. When I started, we used pork blood. And then, like Naomi said, also the state come in and said, you can't use it anymore. So then we had to use beef blood. And that lasts for how many years? And then they allowed you to go back to use pork blood again. Yeah. But that's very true. I think, too, the pork blood was better for the sausage.
Oh, yeah. The other blood made it dry.
Yes.
It didn't have, it was nothing better than fried blood sausage mornings with eggs.
Is that the blood sausage that turns black when you fry it?
That'd be sweet blood.
Okay. That's what I like. Yes, sir. Your name, please? Your name?
Couple of questions.
Your name, please?
Don Zimmerman.
Thank you.
I recall that they also took the cow's tongue and processed it like you did ham, and then smoked that later on too. That was quite a delicacy.
We still, Allen's has steers butchered, when a lot of people, tongue, well, I send it over. Me and Nancy can finish one off in a couple days. Because we don't smoke them, we just boil them and herbs and spices, and then let them cool, peel them, and slice them with a little pepper on, a piece of bread. Best tasting beef you ever want to eat. It's a real rich beef flavor.
The other thing, I know my parents, they processed the meat scraps and made something called punnets out of it. To this day, it's a different grains or cereal flour were mixed with that, right?
Yeah, that's the same thing like Naomi was talking about. I forgot about it. I was going to mention it, yeah. We make punnets at home too, where you cook the meat in for the sausage, for liver sausage or something like that. Well, you always had a lot of meat left in the bottom of the kettle. That you would take out, and then you'd add like oatmeal or flour to it, and you mix it so it really got stiff, and then you put it in large pans, and enamel pans, and then you let it harden, and then you fried that for breakfast morning. I mean, that was you worked hard, you came in, you had all your protein and meat and whatever. It was all in.
After about 3 hours in the bar, that tasted darn good with some jam on it.
There you go.
So, that was part of it.
Yes, we have a question over there, please.
Richard Wiegand, what were your seasonings? What was in them? Where did you get them?
Well, I got most of my seasonings from Breast Foods when they were open yet. So they always got fresh stuff, or fairly fresh. So it would be consistent. Because if you get fresh ground pepper, it's a lot stronger than something that's a year old that you put in the sausage. It won't have the same flavor or whatever you want to say. But
So pepper was part of it.
pepper was part of it.
What were the rest? What was the rest of the others?
Salt.
Salt.
And summer sausage is basically pepper, salt, and cure, unless you put garlic in.
Sometimes mustard seeds?
So, well, always a handful of mustard seed went in, or 2 hands. I still don't know what it makes a difference, but we always put it in.
Yeah, it tastes good though. You bite that mustard seed.
Yeah, it's,
Earl, I got a question about your heritage. As far as going back in the generations that you are from, what part of Germany or wherever did they come from?
our family came from Nicklenburg.
Mecklenburg.
Right, that's right. Mecklenburg, whatever, yeah.
Okay,
You always hear so much around West Saxon. We
yeah,
actually didn't come from Saxon. We
Okay.
came from that part of Germany.
okay,
That's why I got this. See that figure?
yeah,
That only affects people from the Swedish countries and that part of Germany. That's what the doctor told me. They get that. I thought, well, okay. Didn't make no difference to me. I got it. But yeah, they said that's what from that part of Germany and.
okay.
So, now we dabble in other stuff. My son, he likes to make pepperoni, then we make hot sticks or beef sticks to eat, breakfast sausages.
Very good.
Well, there's some people that help butcher once in a while. He likes to do it. So we'll tell him, well, secret recipe for the breakfast sausage. Oh, he said, they're so good, you know. So I said, well, we got to put a bag over your head when we put the seasoning in there. Well, it's packets from Fleet Farm. Like I said, you get the taste you want. We made a couple different kinds, and we never liked the flavor until we found this one kind.
Okay,
And that's the kind we use when we make breakfast sausage.
all right. Another question, if you don't mind. You gave people extra, like, sausages and so forth from your own butchering, or did people order something from you, and did they have a say as to how they wanted it made?
Well, Nancy has something on that part.
Okay.
We had a state license to make sausage.
Oh, okay.
I'll say that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
can say that.
Thank you. You can sit right there, I think.
Before you guys switch, I got these 3 pamphlets here. One is from 1918, the other one from 1921 and 1948, and they're on butchering. I'm going to pass them around so you can look at them, and then we'll let Nancy take the mic.
Well, maybe we could break now before Nancy starts. What would that be? Sure.
Does that mean we get to eat?
Oh, yes.
Great. We'll take a break then.
Thank you.
After hearing what they all went through to make sausage, we were married in 1973. Needless to say, we did not do that. We were farming, we had children, and we just did not butcher like what they all did. When Earl's father passed away, it was in 1976, and that first year, he never wrote down a recipe. So here we were, how to continue this tradition. And it was the following winter when we just thought we need to make some summer sausage, and we did. And after that, we wrote down all of our recipes. In the summer of 1991, Earl and I really became serious about selling summer sausage as a small business from our home. And this would diversify our farm income. And after talking with the state inspectors, making improvements to our basement, which both fathers and fathers-in-law helped with, we received a retailer's license in 1992. The license enabled us to make and sell the cold smoked summer sausage, such as you've tasted today. We used the state inspected meat, which was purchased from the former Bruss Meat Market in School Hill, and of course all 4 of our children had to help. We were making about 1,200 pounds of sausage a week for sale and for people that had brought venison to us, but we were able to do that. And it was a very, very nice diversification for our farm. We continued this license for about 10 years, and after that the state became more demanding, and when the state said to us, you cannot cold smoke it anymore, we let the license go. So that ended that era. However, we still love to make sausage, and now it's more of a hobby. We've continued with the summer sausage, brats, Italian sausage, liver sausage, which we had here tonight. Hot dogs were here. Earl loves his bacon, and the dried beef. Our son Robert has taken the most interest in continuing this tradition, and he knows how to do each step, including the seasoning. And of course, now we write all of our recipes down. So hopefully someone from our family will continue this tradition. We're really enjoying it now, I think, as we get older. Just making sausage. It's really fun. Maybe we don't do that much anymore, maybe 200 pounds at a time rather than so much, but that's what was, it's really fun. Here's back in '92, the paper did come out and do a little article on it, and here Kelly is helping Earl. Earl is stuffing it. We have a stuffer, a 50-pound stuffer that is mechanized. The casings go in hot water first, and then you put them on the tube. And here's another picture of the stuffer. Earl looks a little younger. Up on top is a black stuffer that's like 20 pounds, or can you imagine how many times you'd have to fill that if you were doing 100 pounds of sausage? So we still have everything in the basement, the mixer, the grinder, everything works well. And of course, when we were talking about butchering, and the women, what they do, well, we still get to clean up a lot. So that's about all I have. Any questions?
Richard Wiggin, did you ever consider protecting yourself somehow legally, or getting a patent on what you do, or copyrighting your name or something like that? Ever considered doing that?
The question was if we ever considered getting a patent or a copyright on our... no, we have not.
Kathy Sixel who are your Earl's parents and your parents? You never said the names yet.
My parents were Palmer and Florence Croft, also from the area, and Earl's were Robert and Lorraine Oldroyd.
And she was a Schwinn, correct? No.
Was she wasn't, she was a Wagner.
A Wagner, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Schomburg. Schomburg married to a Wagner.
I got a question that goes a little bit further back. I know Earl was good enough to provide his heritage a little bit. Can you do that a little bit on your family at all?
Let's see well, on my dad's side, it was my grandfather was Otto Croft from the Johnsonville area. I don't know. My brother's back there. Maybe he knows more.
Would you like to try? Okay, thank you.
Alan, come up in the front otherwise.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid, you're a big boy.
Our daughter just went on, a year ago, went on a 4-H exchange, and she got to the Statue of Liberty, and she looked up the Croft name, and she found her great-great-great-grandfather who came over. The Croft name was registered that he had come over from Germany. So that's how many generations were over here.
Do you know what part of Germany by any chance?
No, we're not into that at all. So
Okay.
maybe we should be, I guess.
Okay. Very good, thank you. And there was somebody else who had their name.
Rose had the hand up.
Oh, here we go.
Here.
Kirsten husband, you
Thank
can
you.
tell I like anything food related. Have you ever considered having a little sausage making seminar? Or I would love to learn how to do it at a real small scale.
We can give you the time and date if we do make sausage.
Yeah, I'd love to see how it's done. Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
How
yeah.
many people can you accommodate on that?
As long as there's lunch.
Well,
I'll let you do it on the mic.
we could accommodate till probably 5 people because there's about 5 stations that need manning. We've gotten with a group that several gentlemen that really like making different kinds of sausage, and that's what it's all about too, just having a good time.
Yes. Go right ahead, please.
Richard Wigan. I can tie a heritage story together with a sausage story. I was...
That's gotta be a Mike story.
I was working in Ethiopia, and I was having lunch one day with a German volunteer, and she introduced me to somebody from the German embassy. And we get to talking. I was bragging up my German heritage, which is 100%. And I proceeded to write down all 16 of my great-great-grandparents and where they came from in Germany. And he looked at me and he said, "Wow, that's impressive. Never met an American who could do that." And so he said, "Our Constitution Day is coming up." I think it was in May. It's a German holiday. He said, "I'm going to make you an honorary German citizen for one day. Come to the Constitution Day." So I went to the embassy, and they had a spread of food out, and just about every sausage that we're talking about, and Kochkäse and everything else was out there. And I was in the middle of Ethiopia, and I thought I was back in Cleveland, Wisconsin. And I tasted all of this, and it was close. It wasn't quite the same necessarily, but I was really impressed, and I did not expect to find, all those old recipes and all those old sausages at the embassy in Ethiopia. So that's my story.
Thank you. Anybody else have a question or?
I have a story.
Oh, okay. Just 1 minute. Go right ahead.
Kathy Sixel. And talk about tasting sausage. There was a family, Edmund and Marion Schultz, they lived near Schwartzwald. They were making summer sausage, and they tasted, and I think four members of that family died. Right then they had trichinosis. And trichinosis comes from rats. When pigs eat rats.
Big thing was, you bought your pork, and it came from around big cities. They ate the garbage from the big cities.
Oh, okay. But this was a long time ago, but imagine to be wiped out, right? Yeah, so I was saying before, we had our in my house, the smokehouse was in the house. It was in the basement, and it's still, well, it's there. You can see where the smoke is, you know, it's right next to the, where the water went in the cistern. That's there too, and I still have my black kettle from when we butchered. We butchered yet when we were married. So, you know, thought it was sort of fun. So.
I didn't think you were that old. I got a question, Charles Howard here. I ate a lot of punnets growing up because it was a cheap meal, I was told. But what about scrapple? Anybody? What is scrapple about? Do you guys know what scrapple is? I heard it, but I never had. I have no idea what it is. Scrapple. Anybody? Irene Dine.
Your name, please, Irene? Irene, can you say your name, please?
Irene Dine.
Thank you.
I probably don't know, but isn't scrapple the same as what we used to call greben? That was the rendered meat from the fat.
Cracklings. Cracklings.
That too, yeah, but we call them greben.
Yeah, I think, yeah. I've heard of that. Yeah, I can remember.
Yeah, and isn't scrapple somewhere along that same line?
Okay.
That works for me. Does anybody have anything else you want to add? We do have a little video clip that Jerry made here.
Charlie, Bob Pretty is going to talk about when he worked at the butcher shop for years, well, even today.
Did you want to come up here, or did you want to stay up tall? Way back here.
Your name, please?
Bob Purdy.
Thank you.
Well, I got into the commercial end of it where Earl was on the farm doing the work. I worked at Russ Food Market for 22 years. And I'll just go through what our basic week was, you know. When our busy time would start about the 1st of October, we'd probably slaughter 60 pigs on a Monday morning. Start at 6, usually 1 o'clock we're done with that. After that, we cleaned up the meat that we needed for bologna, ground and mixed the bologna, and got everything ready for what we call the cooked sausage. That was liver and blood sausage, head cheese, blood and tongue, whatever else we had to make the following day. Tuesday morning, we made all our cooked sausage, about 3-4 of us, and another crew would start cutting all the hogs that we had butchered the day before. There probably were about, at that time, 10 of us working there, a couple of guys part-time. And we would make our cooked sausage. We were done with the cooked sausage, we'd stuff our summer sausage. We were done with the summer sausage, we'd stuff bratwurst. And get everything ready. The lard would get prepared for rendering the next day. So on Wednesdays, we'd butcher cattle. Busy time of year probably was 20 head of cattle we'd knock off. There was a crew of about 4 guys, 5 guys once in a while. And we'd also cut beef on Wednesdays, and that was my job, probably my biggest job was a beef cutter. And we cut beef, and also on Wednesdays we probably had to make some more bratwurst, especially in the summer months, you know, we'd sell a lot of bratwurst in that. Thursdays was the bologna day. We'd take care of stuffing the bologna, getting that all ready. The summer sausage would come out of the smokehouse. Now that was stuffed on Tuesday. It would go in the smokehouse Tuesday afternoon, would come out on Thursday morning. So the summer sausage would come out, we'd have to dip it in hot water for a couple of minutes, pull it out and hang it on the rack. Everything got tagged. Red tags for garlic, yellow tags without. The bologna would be stuffed, would go in the smokehouse, would smoke for a couple of hours depending upon the weather. And we'd bring that out, go in the cooker for a half an hour, come up to a certain temperature. I forget what it was offhand now. And
We also have to break down beef for what we would sell in the store, like the chucks, the rounds, the sirloins, short loins, it all had to be taken care of. And on Thursday afternoons was my job to go in the store and get orders ready for all the other stores that we'd service. Now we had 2 routes we used to run years ago. One was the Manitowoc route, one was the Sheboygan route. The Sheboygan route was Carl Mutzelberg and Edwards, the store in Howard's Grove, Bitter Newman, and we'd go to Sheboygan, we'd get hard rolls at Johnson and City Bakery. The Manitowoc route was the store in Spring Valley, Hookhummers in Newton, and we'd go to Manitowoc, we'd probably have to go to Northern Produce to pick up some fruits and vegetables. Also, Plum and Nelson supplied our groceries. You'd probably have to stop there and pick some items up there. So that took care of Friday mornings. I'd come back Fridays after lunch. I worked the store Friday afternoons, Friday nights till 9 o'clock, Saturdays from 7 till 5:30, and that took care of my week. Now in between too, we had hams to smoke. Hams usually got cured and cured on a Tuesday. They go in the brine, and on Thursdays they go in the smokehouse and they'd smoke until Saturdays. And a lot of other different things we had to do, so it was a busy time of the year.
Very good.
Very good, thank you, Bobby.
Sure.
Anything else you want to add? Any questions for Bobby?
That was all hardwood sawdust. Years ago, we used to get it at in Wagner Brothers on Highway 42. They used to cut a lot of logs, a lot of hardwood, and we always got that there, and we'd get a couple of truckloads, and we had a big storage area, a big shed, and we stored it in there to dry it in there. So, yeah.
You never use apple wood?
No. Just one other thing I'd like to add now that, the way things were at that time, comparing to when I worked for Miesfeld's, what we used to do in a day's time, like bratwurst now, on a Thursday, make bratwurst, it probably was about 2,500 pounds. You could grind and mix and stuff that out, probably in about 3 hours' time you'd have that done. Compared to years ago, the stuffers were, early you had a 50-pounder, correct?
Yeah.
On School Hill, I believe we had a 200-pounder up there. So, but it all took time. But it's a lot different nowadays. I mean, with the grinding and the mixing, the grinders, we can grind 400 pounds at a time. We can mix 400 pounds at a time. Stuff 500 pounds at a time. It's a lot different. So it's been quite a change.
Okay, go right ahead.
Richard Wiegand, what percentage, when you were at Ross, what percentage of the meat that you were making did you sell at, for yourself, and what percentage do you do as custom, butchering for other people? Because we used to bring animals there and have you do it.
We probably would butcher for our own use as far as the hogs, probably 12 to 15 hogs a week. That's what was used for the store, what was sold in the store. Pork chops, pork steaks, things like that. As far as the beef, that probably was about 3 to 4 head a week. What was broken down for in the store.
And what about for the outside, for the custom?
The custom probably was, well, with the hogs, that'd be 40 hogs, custom hogs, you'd slaughter. The beef would be, 15 head once in a while.
I have a question, Bob. Earl mentioned that the blood sausages that came out of the pig when they were stuck, where did that go with your process?
Like Earl said, it was done the same way. We would have to catch the blood and stir it so it wouldn't coagulate.
Okay.
We'd stir it, and then it went in the cooler until the next day that we use it for sausage.
Okay. Is there any extra cooking to be done on the blood sausage at all?
No, not really.
Really?
Not really. Once in a while, if we'd have some left over, we would freeze it for the following week, which they do nowadays. I know when you get it in at Miesfeld, it's frozen when you get it in. So.
I was watching a commercial, and I think it was one of the Usingers or someplace in Milwaukee, and they put dry ice or something, mix it with the meat so it wouldn't overheat during all this turbulence.
Probably crushed ice.
Yes, okay, there you go. But the heat does build up a little bit?
Right.
Okay. Anybody else? I saw some hands up a little bit there. Go right ahead, sir.
Richard Schwartz, question for Bob. Did Butch Endries get his training at Russ before he went to pipe?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Because he grew up on the farm that's Javen Mercy's today. His recipes, sausage, summer sausage seems to be grown finer than what Russ was, but the bologna seems to be almost identical to what Russ had. Only they smoked it a lot heavier than what Russ did, I believe.
Right ahead.
Richard Wigan, did you ever get any animals that you rejected?
Yes.
Or did the inspectors find something that, you had to throw out?
Yes, yes.
How often?
It didn't happen that often. I believe inspection started in about 1968 or 1969. And that was quite a change. I mean, some guys went out of business because making the switch over and that, But in the long run, it was a good thing because, they caught things that probably would have gone through otherwise, And every so often we would get a hog or a steer in there where there was something wrong with it and that, and well, then you had to notify the farmer. Most of the people were pretty good about it. Some were very upset, but if the inspector said it's no good, it went out. So it's just the way it was.
Did you make those decisions yourself about rejecting, or did you have the
No,
inspector
no.
do that?
Every day when we slaughtered, there was a state inspector there. Mondays, they were there from 6 in the morning till 1 in the afternoon. On Wednesday, they were there from 6 in the morning till probably 1 or 2 in the afternoon. Yeah. Anything that was rejected, it was up to him. So.
We have a question over here, Bob, perhaps? Your name, please?
Fred Jacoby.
Thank you.
Bob, what finally brought about the successful business to a close? Can you explain that in 25 words or less?
I really don't know, Fritz. I left in 1988 when I left. And, I don't really know what happened, why it went down at the end.
Not regulations?
Probably regulations had something to do with it, because regulations were constantly changing, I mean, over the years, I worked with a lot of different inspectors. I worked with some real good guys. I worked with some guys that were hard to work with. But you had to toe the line. I mean, otherwise, if they come down on you, what are you going to do? I remember, I'll give you a story once, what happened. We had a real good inspector. The gentleman was out of Manitowoc. And he had stopped in on a Wednesday or Thursday, and once in a while they would take samples if you made summer sausage, bratwurst, bologna. They always would take a sample up and test it, And that particular morning, he come in and he says, tomorrow morning I want to pick a sample of summer sausage. And the foreman, he was in a little bad mood that day. Yeah, we'll take care of it, So, well and good. And I told the foreman, I says, don't get him upset, I says, something's bothering the man, So anyway, the next morning he come in and we didn't have a sample ready for him. And he went storming out of the building. I thought, well, now what's going to happen now? We come to work on Friday morning at 6 o'clock and he's there already. And I thought it was Christmas time. There were red tags hanging on everything. Our stuffer, our mixer, our grinder, our tubs, we had to clean everything up before we could start processing that day. So you got to toe the line with some of these guys.
Any other questions? Oh, yeah. Anybody got anything else you want to add?
Look, I do.
Yeah.
I don't know if you did this when you butchered, but there was always that juice that was left where the rinderwurst was in. Well, we took that juice and we canned that in 2-quart jars and we added onions and carrots and celery, and then you had soup. So during the winter, we just got a big jar up and you had soup that was ready-made. Then I hated it, and I wish I had some.
Kathy brought up Rinderwush. Like I said, when I talked, that we used all the bones and everything, Well, one Easter Sunday in the afternoon, I got in a big argument with my mother and mother-in-law that you cannot make beef sausage without bones. I said, why? "Oh, okay. Well, black-headed German. Next batch of Renowist I made bones. But I can always remember my uncles telling me, you add so much water to it, and you don't add any more. Once that water is in, that's it. So that's what we did with the beef we cooked. But that is the richest beef broth you ever want to have, and that you put in the beef sausage to add juice and moisture to it. So that really enhances the flavor. So I proved them wrong. But the only time I ever got credit for anything. And then, like you said, when you make cooked sausage, big thing was the ears. When they come out of the kettle, you have a little salt on the table. To this day, why a guy was so crazy for it? All this is cartilage and skin, there was really no flavor to it. We always got in trouble, mostly the heart and everything went into beef sausage. Well, that's good eating. Come out of the kettle with a little salt on the table. Then we got hollered at too because there wasn't enough left to go into the sausage. And then, a couple personal notes. My grandchildren, we want a snack. So Kelly's got the oldest grand. They come out, I got some blood and tongue in the refrigerator. Well, Kelly wouldn't eat it either, but here they go, oh crap, this is good sausage. So they're eating blood and tongue. And then Robert's daughter comes over, and Nancy had just cooked a fresh tongue. So, a while back, right after Robert was married, Sarah come over and Nancy had a kettle cooking on the stove, and she looked in it, slammed the cover down. What do you have in there? Well, Nancy was cooking a tongue. So the grandchildren come over, snack. Okay, so I got that tongue out, and I'm feeding the grandkids tongue. So I said, here, take a piece along home for Mama. Well, she fed it to the kids, but then her folks are from, our mother is from Neenah, and she was there. And Madeline, she was just talking good and everything. She's explaining what she was eating over by Grandpa's house. Well, Robert said her mother was almost throwing up on the couch. And another thing that I thought was really funny, when we had made venison sausage for people, I always was very fussy. You bring it, if I don't like the way it looks or smells, you take it home. Because I said you can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. I had guys every year from Eau Claire. They would have a whole bunch of groups that would put their meat together and bring it down, and that would be 1 week sausage making just from there, and then they'd come down and take it all back to Eau Claire, and that's the furthest. I had one dentist from Lake Geneva that would bring his venison, and one pastor from Manitowoc, then he moved down to Lake Mills, I think. When I called him up and told him, he said, well, where am I going to get my sausage made no more? I don't know.
So what kind of meat ingredients goes into the head cheese?
I never made head cheese. I wasn't a big fan of it to eat it myself. It's a lot more pepper. It's a heavier spice. It's basically probably salt and pepper and
Salt, pepper, a little nutmeg.
nutmeg, yeah. A lot of like blood sausage too. There you put allspice in, but you can't put too much in or it overpowers. Well, perhaps it's got nutmeg in.
Like
Just a dash.
Bob Craigie.
Yeah.
Head cheese was what you use snoots. There were pork tongues, pork hearts, veal tongue. You dice that all up. And some pork skins in there.
Yeah.
Fine.
Schwaden.
Schwaden.
Yeah, you always save some skins for the head cheese. But there too, some farmers I know, when they made liver sausage and that, they put the lungs and that in. But we never did that. And we never ate the kidneys either. They usually, Widow Dine got them from us. He would take the kidneys out. We never used them.
Okay, there's some hands up over here, please. Mr. Swartz.
Kidneys, we always
cooked and sliced and put in vinegar. But my question to you is, I have a friend that says you don't eat any organs of any animal, because those were the cleansing things for the animal. What's your opinion on that?
Well, my philosophy is you can eat anything if it's made right. And my wife will vouch for that. I don't, it's, like I said, whether, yeah, it's your cleansing organ, but I mean, we like liver, I mean, heart, tongue, whatever.
Somebody had her hand up. Oh, there we go. Go right ahead, please.
Naomi Schmidt.
Thank you.
We're talking about head cheese. In German, it's called Schwabenmachen.
Yeah, Schwabenmachen.
And my mother always made mincemeat too.
Okay.
And that's not what you buy now. It's not the same that she always made. She had in pork jars
Mm-hmm.
for putnik and pie. Oh, that was good.
Alice has got a question.
Alice, you got one? Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just wondering, my stomach is churning from all this other stuff that I never eat. But I'm wondering, you talk about blood sausage. Did you also make blood soup?
No,
No?
we never made that.
Can they make that out of that blood from the pig?
Yeah, that's,
No,
We got somebody choking at the bit here.
I was going to ask you, you made the blood soup. In my home, we made it out of pig blood, but in the Sixa household, we made it out of goose blood. Yeah. At my home, it was sweet. It had prunes in and raisins and noodles, but the Sixels, when they had it, it was sour, and you put chicken meat in it. It was must have been an altogether different recipe than what we made, but I can live without that.
I got a little bit of a story when I was young. I watched my grandparents and parents, so forth, butchering, and I was curious because I was about 6 years old, and I went up to my grandfather who was doing his thing to get pieces of meat out of something. Anyway, he must have cut the eye out of a pig, and I come up to him and I says, "What is that?" And all he did, he squeezed the eye and opened the lid, and all this big eyeball came out. I think I went in my pants.
There were some other hands up here, I
Yeah.
see someplace.
There we go. We got Bob.
Like Earl said, years ago, nothing went to waste. You used everything. The hearts, the tongues, everything. Nothing went to waste.
And what you had left of the lard, you made into soap. Yeah, soap, and that was your soap for the year.
Now, you render your lard down, and like Kathy said, you use for soap. The crackslings were saved for cookies and whatever else they made. Nothing went to waste.
Naomi?
Naomi Schmidt.
Thank you.
I was to say, nothing went to waste. Well, I like to watch the History Channel. And he had Ford Motor Company, how he got started. And then he had so many chips from wood chips and stuff like that. And his brother-in-law, I know what to do with this brother-in-law's name was Kingsford. So he made charcoal. So like you say, nothing went to waste.
Uh-huh. We got a question over here.
Rich Hankey.
Thank you.
I used to be a zookeeper before I started teaching in Manitowoc down at Brookfield Zoo in Chicago. And one of my jobs was to go to the butcher shop and get a little tiny jar of blood for the vampire bats. And they were about the size of a mouse, and they just laughed it off. They were kind of cute when but they didn't go and bite anybody or fly off.
We go. We got one there. Thank you.
Richard Schwartz. I have a farmer friend from around Francis Creek. His family, long family generation of cheesemakers, and I believe he was down in Illinois at the time going to school and everything, and I guess times are on the tougher side here too. And they had lard bread with a little salt and pepper on, and he took that to one of the kids sitting next to him, he says, "Can we switch sandwiches?" We switched sandwiches. The city kid thought he had the world by the tail, and this farmer from Francis Creek, he says, "I had a ham sandwich, so I thought I really had moved up in the food."
Well, I know at home that when you fried bacon up and everything, that always was put in one of these stoneware dishes, these brown and white dishes, and that was used for putting on bread.
Pepperoni.
Yeah.
Pepperoni.
Pepperoni, literally.
Richard? Go right ahead.
Yeah, Richard Wigan. Some years ago, I was in a very large South American market, and this building was a couple hundred feet long, and there was this long line of animal parts. Heads, eyes, tails, everything you can imagine off of an animal hooves in these different bins, on top, and people would come in and buy them, and take them home and cook them up or make something out of them. So it was just interesting to see all these parts all the way down the line. And they used, of course, everything.
Yeah.
Also. I mean, it went for something.
Yeah.
And I remember this guy dragging this head out of the building, by the horn. He had purchased this thing and he was dragging it. Another thing I might mention is Chris Cannell and Kathy Pierce, who had the meat handler business here in Cleveland. I worked for them a couple of times, and they might be interesting people, one or both of them, if you can get them in here, to talk about software and processing and that for meat packaging. And they sold this package of software, and it included everything from weighing to HACCP, procedures for temperatures and time and all that, and labeling. And one of the things I've seen up north is I get a call every once in a while from somebody who's taken his animal in to be processed in one of these local meat plants, and they don't get back what they took in, or at least they think they don't, or the weight is way off. And some of these places have absolutely no labeling or control within the plant, so they have all these different animals and whatnot going through there, and then what comes out on the end might be missing 100 pounds, or maybe another guy gets more, and I've gotten a number of complaints about a couple of places up north. So I don't know if that ever happened at Rust, but
No, even years back before ASAP, and when everything got tagged, I mean, all our custom stuff, everything got tagged. I mean, it's sure here and there you would get a complaint, hey, I'm a little short on my meat or something like that, but that's everyday occurrence. It's not that it happens every day in that, but it happens.
I was also in another place overseas, and we were looking at this meat processing. It was a slaughterhouse, a small one, and they had a Muslim population, they had a Christian Orthodox population, and then they had a conventional population. There was one truck coming in, unloading the animals. They'd hang them up, they'd slaughter them. They had an imam blessing the one line, and maybe even kosher, I don't know, but they had different preachers, clergymen in there blessing, and then the one for the commercial didn't have that. They had to be slaughtered in a certain way, and there were one line coming in, one door, and three trucks, three doors going out, and one went for Orthodox, one went for Muslim, and one went some other place. I don't know what it was. From the same place. It was just the slaughtering and and make sure that that was all done kosher or halal or whatever it was. So I thought that was fascinating.
We'll take time when we shut.
Oh, sure.
Wrap it up.
We have to wrap it up. Okay. Yes.
When we were over in Germany, then we visited a couple over there, and it was Herr Rohrmeyer, who owned a Metzgerei, the butcher shop, and he showed Danny his butcher shop, and he had a swallow's nest, and he was talking about his swallows. He was so happy where he did his slaughtering. He actually had a and then he was so happy when he come back. And just so happened we were there. That's a little town like Thor. And my daughters had German in middle school. baker shops and things like, and then they had on butcher shops too. And here it was Frau Rohrmeyer. She was showing different cuts of sausages. And then Chris said to her, she said, you know, we were there this summer, we visited her, and the teacher did not want to believe her. Isn't that, and how the chances of that be,
Yeah.
that she'd be on a film strip that they're showing in Sheboygan. Yeah.
Well, it's getting to be that time, and you can tell it was a very interesting evening. I do have one more story to tell you. I had a grandma and a grandpa Rob, and the Robs were real happy, jolly people. And they had their birthdays in February, and they always butchered in February. And booby prize was always the big steal in a rat trap. You know, you played for prizes years ago. Well, with that, I want to thank Nancy and Earl again and everybody for coming, and it was a wonderful presentation. Bobby, thank you also.
Let's have a hand for those people, please. Can we have a hand for those good people?
We are going to be meeting again on October 14th, and again, I'm trying for Earl Stoltenberg. He said he would do it on the 14th, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully, he'll show up this time. Again, thank you for coming. Oh, yeah, finish the samples in the back yet. And thank you so much for that. Oh, yeah, the baseball team. Does anybody know this baseball team? This picture came in. It was a team in Cleveland, or any of the people on it? Yeah, so, well, let me know if you do, okay? Okay, thank you. Have a safe journey home.
Please.
I'm Charlie Maurer from Newton. Phil Knopf, Cedar Lake.
Thank you.
Henry Koch, Manitowoc.
Thank you.
Dennis Yanig, Templeton, California.
Good, thank you for coming.
Marcia Yanig, Templeton, California.
Good,
Rick Beiersdorf, Town Meeting.
thank you.
Carl Ziegler, Town Meeting.
Thank you.
Fred Jacoby, Manitowoc.
Good,
Don Zimmerman, Manitowoc.
good,
Irene Dine, Cleveland.
good,
Alice Mathias, Cleveland.
good,
Willard Mathias, Cleveland.
good.
Ed Heckman, Spring Valley.
Thank you.
Lloyd Vogel, Cleveland.
Good,
Rich Hankey, Manitowoc.
good,
Don Manlick, Manitowoc.
good,
Dolores Manley, Manitowoc.
good. Here we go.
Grace Yeager, Cleveland.
Thank you,
Kirsten Husband, Cleveland.
thank you.
John Scott from Milwaukee.
Good, thank you for coming.
Bonnie Crock, Centerville.
Good,
Alan Crock, Centerville.
thank you. Please,
Lisa Elfson, Newton.
thank you,
Marie Rosenbauer, Newton.
thank you.
Richard Wiegand, Spooner.
Good,
Phil Sickman, Cleveland.
thank you.
Hazel Wagner, Cleveland.
Good, thank you.
Naomi Schmidt, Elkhart Lake.
Very good, thank you.
Eugene Weiser, Cleveland.
Thank you.
Lana Brady, Cleveland.
Good.
Bob Brady, Cleveland.
Yep, good job, sir.
Don Schneider, Lewis Corners.
Good,
Ken Smazel, Rockville.
good,
June Smazel, Rockville.
thank you,
Paul Wagner, Howard Scrove.
thank you,
Richard Schwartz, Tall Mimi.
thank you,
Paul Schwinn, Cleveland.
thank you.
John Wiegand, Centerville.
Good,
Marilyn Heineman, Howard Grove.
good. Right ahead.
Nancy Oldrick, Centerville.
Good. Did a good job. Very nice.
Earl Aldrich, Centerville.
My compliments. You did a fine job tonight, sir. Thank you. Right ahead.
Fred Jacoby. A number of years ago, it's quite a while ago, on a Sunday afternoon, I thought it was this group met at the VFW. And I don't know if the whole program was about that. I can't remember. But at least the main thing that I remember was there was a film about Ed and Walter Klessig butchering a big hog. Was anyone else there? You remember it, huh?
Really?
See, and I don't know if the Klessigs had the film, but I'm guessing, but I don't know.
Okay.
Richard doesn't remember. I missed that.
No, this was good.